then you have to hear both sides. And neither one of the authorities who are coming and promoting the vaccines are willing to talk with the other side. And believe me, we tried a lot. So I would say that if people are afraid of the fake news that they're being fed, then that's almost a lost case. I'm saying almost. That's almost a lost case. If somebody still believes that it's a deadly virus, then it's a lost case. Because for 2 years you weren't able to convince them, you know that there's not even such a thing as called a virus, by the way. It's all one big invention. Virus is a Latin word for poison. That's it. There's no such thing. If you want to talk about something, there's a bacteria, not a virus. But we already went through this many, many, many times. If people still believe that this is a deadly virus, okay, so I can't help you. I'm not going to try. This is bemet a lost case. The person is completely hypnotized, brainwashed. That's what they believe. Okay, no, what can you do? It doesn't say anywhere that everybody has to be awoken. But if people are afraid of what is going on, that's already concerning me. If people come and tell me I'm afraid because they're threatening me that if I don't get vaccinated, I'll be fired, I can't finish my degree, I can't go into a shopping center, whatever. If you're afraid of that, that's concerning me because at least you are aware that the danger is not the fake virus, rather the evil individuals that are running the show. Then that's already a concern. And I'm saying it a lot, but don't imagine Egypt, some camels and like a pyramid and some Egyptians with a mini skirt and with whips. What they're, they put it in the Haggadah for Pesach and the modern ones that you see like the Jews are slaves and they're carrying bricks and some evil Egyptians. That's not what it was, by the way. That's not what it was at all. Egypt at the time was the metropolitan of the world. They had more technology than what we have now. We think we have technology. They had then more technology then, and not only that, they were all so involved in witchcraft and sorcery and magic, they were doing things that we can't even imagine. Little kids would learn in school how to turn a staff into a snake. So when Moshe came and turned his staff into a snake, everybody was laughing. That's your trick. You're coming with that trick? Let's see you do something serious here. So, nothing changed. 80% of the nation didn't listen then. And now we see a huge part of our nation not listening. Now, nothing really changed. You go now to any average individual in our generation and ask him, are you a slave? Mom, what are you talking about? I make $150,000 a year. I'm not a slave. I have a Maserati and a beautiful iPhone and I go twice a year on vacations. Well, you are a slave to your mortgage, to your lease, to your bank, to your credit cards, to your job, etc. You are a slave. It's just in a very numb state, so you don't even know that you're a slave. That's the problem in the Western and modern world, or what they call in our generation democracy. They're making people think that they're free. They're not. You are a slave to the system. You're not your own individual. You have been told what to do. You thinking that you made the decision and you chose it. So really nothing changed then. Everything is carbon copy now. So really what's concerning me is not the ones who are afraid of the nonsense. I see people going with the mask. What are you doing? You still think that this diaper is going to make much of a difference on your face? You have to be a psychopath to really think that a piece of cloth is going to stop a deadly virus. It's so deadly that it doesn't know how to go from this side, right? I don't know how educated people, and they go like this. Why you go like that? Why don't you go here? I mean, can it go from here? Can go from here? I know. You know what concerns me the most with the diapers, with the mask? If it was such a vital protection, and there's virus everywhere, wouldn't they command us to dispose the masks in a bio-disposal, what they put needles in? Right? How do you call it? A bio-trash when you put it in? I don't know how it's called. biohazard trash, you see them on the floor. And you really think it's going to stop a deadly virus? Nothing makes sense here. So when you see the people walking in the street, the mask everywhere, you really think that's going to make a difference? If you're standing 2 feet, or 3 feet, or 7 feet? What? If there would be a deadly virus, I'm sorry to tell you, people would be dead on the floor, in the streets. Have you ever seen somebody died from corona on the street? They all die in a hospital. Ooh, very interesting. If it was a deadly virus, well, people would die at home, right? People would die on the street. I didn't see dead people on the street. Somebody argued with me the other day. I told him I couldn't stand it with the mask. He told me, put the mask. And I told him, do I tell you what to do? Do I tell you take off the mask? You want to put the mask on? Leave me alone. What do you want from me? No, it's more protection. It's 65% when it's only me wearing the mask, 95% when both wearing the mask. Wow, I didn't know there's mathematics in the virus. 95%, the 65%. And then I told him, listen, leave me alone. He said, oh, you makrish corona, you are denial of corona. I don't deny anything, I'm just saying it's not deadly. Why, were you afraid in the last 50 years of the flu? Walking with a mask, it's just as deadly. No, what are you talking about? Thousands of dead people. I said, thousands? I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with your counting. You know, don't go to the hospitals, because the hospitals are bribed. Go to the group in Israel, at least it's called Chevre Kadisha. The group, it's not really a company, but the organization that is in charge of burial in the country and the land of Israel. It's called Chevre Kadisha. Go and ask them, how many dead bodies did they bury in the last month? I mean, you can't lie with the numbers. I mean, you see it on the ground. According to the Jewish custom, you don't cover the grave for the first 30 days. Go now to the cemeteries in Israel and count how many fresh graves are there. If there would be a pandemic, they would have 50,000 fresh graves. If there's 300 fresh graves, 500, 3,000, I'm sorry to tell you, that's the amount of dead people last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. So where's the deadly pandemic? If you need to be concerned about one thing, is how the governments are slowly closing down, manipulating and forcing individuals to get vaccinated, forcing and threatening kids to get tested for all sorts of nonsense, what they're doing now in Israel. Never heard of such insanity. Since when do I have to prove that I'm healthy? I have to prove if I'm sick. Now, if I don't have any symptoms, why do I have to take a test all the time? And you know what's the joke in Israel? They want to do that test when you do a prick on the finger. You know what's the fraud here? That what's the point of this test? To see if you have antibodies, right? Ask any normal doctor, and they will tell you that you cannot find antibodies from blood that came out of a muscle. It has to come out of a vein, not out of a muscle. So how are you testing the antibodies? What is this, a test for, how do you go, diabetes? And I'm no genius medical doctor. I just consult real doctors. And real doctors will tell you, you cannot find antibodies from a prick of blood that came from a little needle. It has to be drawn out of the blood, out of a vein. And now you have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of poor kids, 7 years old. And people are proudly putting it on Facebook. The kid is like standing like this with a test. That's what you're proud of? If you're suffocating your kid with a mask, and they're standing in line, it's insanity. That's what you need to be concerned of. Not the evil government. That's not concerning me. It's the stupidity of people is what's concerning me. The fact that the government is evil, I know that. The fact that we are controlled by evil psychopaths, we know that. What has changed? Nothing changed. The fact that people comply, that's a cause for concern. And you know why? Because these are the people who are going to go after you at some point, not the government. The Nazis said, we're not going to do another Holocaust. the same way. We're going to do another Holocaust. We are in a Holocaust. But not the same way that it was brutal and forced. You're going to voluntarily go into the gas chamber. Like you see these long lines in Tel Aviv, people are just waiting in line. 5,000 people are waiting in line to get vaccinated. They're not even forced. There's no dogs. There's no SS officers. So the Nazis became more complex. We don't need to force you. We're going to manipulate you that you're going to choose to do that. Now what's going to happen is that these are the people who are so brainwashed that if you're not going to comply with the evil orders, they're going to go after you. Chas v'shalom. These are the people you have to be concerned from. And you see sometimes, you see these horrible videos of civilians violently attacking people because they didn't wear a mask. I saw a video the other day in Israel. An older man violently beating a girl in a mall because she wasn't wearing a mask. Who are you to take the law to your hand? It's not even a law, it's illegal. But who are you to violently attack a young girl because she's not wearing a mask? I mean, that's insanity already.